Here is something most people never realize, but it may already be happening. The moment you pass 60, your eyes begin losing a critical protective pigment, layer by layer. No pain, no warning, nothing dramatic, just a slow, quiet thinning that can eventually show up as blurry words on a menu. Headlights that seem to explode in your vision at night. Or that unsettling moment when you cannot clearly recognize a familiar face across the dinner table. And what makes this even more alarming is that many people are eating the very foods they believe are helping their eyes, only to discover those foods are barely scratching the surface. The question is simple. Why do some people reach their 80s with sharp, clear, almost youthful vision, while others are legally blind before 70? Is it genetics? Is it luck? The answer, as it turns out, is almost entirely nutritional, and more specific than most people realize. Today, we are looking at 8 powerful foods, ranked by their impact on eye protection after 60. These foods are supported by clinical research and real-world patient outcomes. And number 1 on this list is genuinely surprising. It is something many people already have in their kitchen. It is inexpensive, but almost nobody connects it to eye health. Before we begin, think about your own eyes. Are you dealing with blurriness, dryness, light sensitivity, or that general feeling that your vision is not quite what it used to be? Now, let's begin the countdown. Food number 8, raw pumpkin seeds. We start with something extremely simple, something you can buy at almost any grocery store. But when it comes to protecting the structure of aging eyes, raw pumpkin seeds deserve serious attention. Here is why this matters after 60. As we age, the lens inside the eye begins to lose its ability to stay clear. The main reason is not just age, it is the progressive depletion of a mineral called zinc. Zinc acts like a molecular escort for vitamin A. It carries vitamin A through the bloodstream and delivers it into the retina, where it is converted into a protective pigment called melanin. But without enough zinc, even if you eat foods rich in vitamin A, your retina cannot absorb and use those nutrients effectively. The delivery system begins to fail, and the clinical reality is powerful. A landmark study showed that older adults with the highest zinc intake were 27% less likely to develop advanced macular degeneration over a 5-year follow-up period. That is nearly a 1 in 4 reduction in serious vision loss risk from a single mineral. Raw pumpkin seeds are one of the most zinc-dense whole foods by weight. 1 ounce, about a small handful, delivers nearly 20% of your daily zinc requirement in a highly usable form. They also contain gamma-tocopherol, a form of vitamin E that helps protect the delicate fats inside retinal cells from oxidative damage caused by ultraviolet light exposure. To get the most benefit, choose raw, unsalted, hulled pumpkin seeds. Not roasted. Roasting can degrade up to 30% of their zinc content through heat oxidation. Eat about 1 ounce, roughly 2 tablespoons in the early evening. Zinc levels can peak in your bloodstream during overnight sleep cycles, exactly when your eyes are doing their deepest cellular repair. Pair them with a small slice of cheese or a tablespoon of tahini. The fats in those foods help improve absorption and strengthen the benefit. A small habit, a simple food. But over time, it can become part of a serious protective strategy. Food number 7, tart cherries. This one surprises almost everyone. Cherries do not usually come to mind when people think about eye health. But this food connects 2 things most people never link together: sleep quality and the speed at which your eyes deteriorate. During deep sleep, your body releases melatonin. Most people think of melatonin only as a sleep hormone. But in reality, melatonin is also one of the strongest antioxidants your body naturally produces. And your retina has its own melatonin receptors. That means your eye tissue depends on melatonin to neutralize the free radical damage that builds up after a full day of light exposure. But after 60, many people do not sleep deeply or long enough. When deep sleep becomes weaker, the melatonin surge becomes weaker too. And when that happens, retinal cells do not fully complete their overnight repair cycle. Over months and years, that damage accumulates. This is where tart cherries become remarkable. They are one of the richest natural food sources of plant-based melatonin. A study found that adults who drank tart cherry juice for 2 weeks increased total sleep time by an average of 84 minutes and significantly deepened slow-wave sleep. More deep sleep means a longer repair window. A longer repair window means your retinas have more time to recover, but that is only half the story. Tart cherries are also rich in anthocyanins, including cyanidin 3-glucoside, a compound shown to help reduce intraocular pressure, support microcirculation inside the eye, and protect the optic nerve from inflammatory damage. To use this practically, drink 4 ounces of 100% tart cherry juice, not sweetened and not cocktail juice, diluted in 4 ounces of water about 60 to 90 minutes before bed. If you prefer whole fruit, half a cup of frozen tart cherries also works well. Do not add sugar. The natural tartness is a sign of potency. Those bitter compounds are where the therapeutic anthocyanins live. Give it at least 4 weeks of consistency before judging the result. Because with the eyes, protection does not usually arrive as a sudden miracle. It builds quietly, night after night. Now we move into something most people overlook. It is not just what you eat. It is what your body actually absorbs. Because you can eat the right foods and still miss the benefit if they are not prepared or paired correctly. Food number 6, avocado. If there is one food I wish more people over 60 would eat regularly for eye health, it is avocado. Not because it is trendy, but because it solves a major absorption problem. The most important eye protective compounds, lutein and zeaxanthin, are fat-soluble. That means if you eat them without enough healthy fat present in your digestive system, your body absorbs only a fraction of them. One study showed that eating a salad full of lutein-rich greens without any fat resulted in nearly zero absorption of those eye protective carotenoids. 0. Avocado changes that. It does 2 things at once. First, one medium avocado contains about 1.3 milligrams of lutein on its own, one of the higher concentrations found in fruit. Second, avocado contains healthy fats, mainly oleic acid, the same monounsaturated fat found in olive oil. This fat dramatically improves absorption of lutein and zeaxanthin from the other foods you eat with it. A clinical study found that adding avocado to a meal increased lutein absorption by 400%, and zeaxanthin absorption by over 1,200%. Think about that. Simply adding half an avocado to a meal containing greens or orange vegetables can multiply the eye protective effect of that meal by more than 10 times. There is another benefit, too. Avocados are rich in vitamin E, especially alpha-tocopherol, which helps protect the lens of the eye from ultraviolet-induced oxidative stress that contributes to cataract formation. People with higher vitamin E levels in the bloodstream have been associated with a 25% lower risk of cataracts over a 10-year period. Eat half an avocado with dinner at least 4 evenings per week. Keep it simple. Slice it on whole grain toast with sea salt and red pepper flakes, or eat it alongside protein and vegetables. The key is pairing it with dark leafy greens, sweet vegetables, or eggs. The fat-soluble synergy happening in digestion can silently multiply the nutritional power of your entire plate. Food number 5, dark leafy greens. At this point, many people say they already eat salads. They already eat vegetables. So why is their vision still declining? The answer is important. It is not just about eating greens. It is about eating the right greens, prepared in the right way, at the right time. The 2 nutrients that matter most here are lutein and zeaxanthin, but different greens contain radically different amounts. Iceberg lettuce has almost none. Romaine has only small amounts, but cooked kale delivers about 23 milligrams of lutein per cup. Cooked spinach delivers about 20 milligrams. Cooked collard greens can deliver around 26 milligrams per cup. That is among the highest of any food on the planet. Why does this matter after 60? Because lutein and zeaxanthin are the only 2 dietary carotenoids that concentrate specifically in the macula. The macula is the central part of the retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision. Reading, driving, recognizing faces, watching your grandchildren perform on stage. All of that depends on the macula. These nutrients form what researchers call macular pigment. That pigment works like a living biological filter. It absorbs blue light before it damages photoreceptor cells and helps neutralize free radicals from ultraviolet exposure and digital screen time. The preparation matters. If eye health is your goal, lightly cook your greens. Do not rely only on raw salads. Cooking breaks down the cell wall structure around lutein and zeaxanthin molecules, releasing them into a form your body can absorb. Research has shown that lutein from cooked spinach can be up to 4 times more bioavailable than lutein from raw spinach. Sauté 1 to 2 cups of kale, spinach, or collard greens in 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil with garlic for 4 to 5 minutes over medium heat. Add lemon juice and sea salt. Eat this with dinner at least 5 nights per week. Lutein does not build in the macula overnight. It accumulates over weeks and months, but it builds like a fortress. Every serving adds another protective layer. Food number 4, walnuts. Now we enter the top 4, and the research becomes even more compelling. Walnuts are one of the most underappreciated foods for long-term retinal blood vessel health. And for older adults, this matters deeply. Your retina is fed by a network of microscopic blood vessels, some of the smallest and most delicate in the entire body. As we age, chronic low-grade inflammation, oxidative stress, and elevated blood sugar can stiffen and narrow those vessels. When blood flow to the retina becomes weaker, photoreceptor cells begin to starve for oxygen and nutrients. This process is called retinal ischemia, and it is one of the key drivers behind macular degeneration and diabetic eye disease. Walnuts help interrupt this process on several levels. They contain alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. While it is not as directly usable as the DHA found in fatty fish, it plays an important role in reducing inflammatory markers that damage retinal vessel walls. One study found that older adults who consumed a small handful of walnuts daily for 8 weeks showed measurable reductions in 2 inflammatory markers, CRP and IL-6, both associated with retinal vessel disease. But walnuts also contain ellagic acid, a compound shown to help protect retinal ganglion cells. These are the nerve cells that transmit visual signals from your eye to your brain. In simple terms, walnuts may help keep those critical visual connections alive. Eat about 1 ounce, roughly 7 whole walnuts, ideally after dinner. Store them in the refrigerator in an airtight container. Their delicate oils can go rancid quickly. And rancid oils are not just less effective. They can introduce oxidative compounds that work against your goals. Buy small amounts and rotate fresh stock every 2 to 3 weeks, a small handful, 1 daily habit. But for the retina's blood supply, it can matter more than most people realize. Now we are entering the most critical phase, where the impact becomes deeper, more direct, and far more powerful. Because at this point, it is no longer just about protecting your eyes, it is about preserving function, slowing deterioration, and in some cases, changing the long-term outcome. Food number 3, turmeric with black pepper. This is where things shift into something most people never consider: inflammation inside the eye. As your eyes age, damaged cells begin releasing inflammatory signals. That triggers immune cells in the retina to activate. At first, they help, but over time, they become overactive. And instead of protecting your vision, they begin damaging healthy cells as well. This process is known as retinal neuroinflammation, and it plays a central role in macular degeneration and optic nerve damage. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has the rare ability to cross into retinal tissue and calm this process. But here's the problem. On its own, your body absorbs very little of it, less than 3%. This is where black pepper becomes essential. It contains piperine, a compound that increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. That is not a small improvement. That is the difference between almost no effect and a meaningful one. Combine 1 teaspoon of turmeric with 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Mix it into warm milk and drink it about 45 minutes before bed. Because the real repair process happens during sleep, and this combination supports it at the cellular level. Food number 2, wild blueberries. Now we are getting into something truly remarkable, but also widely misunderstood. Wild blueberries are not the same as regular blueberries. They are smaller, darker, and far more concentrated in protective compounds. Because they grow in harsh conditions, they produce higher levels of anthocyanins. And when you consume them, those same compounds begin working inside your body. One of their key roles is supporting rhodopsin, the pigment responsible for low-light vision. As you age, rhodopsin regenerates more slowly. That is why adjusting to darkness becomes harder. Wild blueberries help accelerate that regeneration, which means faster visual adaptation, less strain, and improved clarity in low-light environments. They also improve the flexibility of retinal blood vessels, allowing better oxygen and nutrient delivery. Half a cup, preferably in the evening, is enough. Keep them raw or frozen. Do not cook them. Heat destroys a large portion of their active compounds. And now, we arrive at number 1. Food number 1, raw cacao. This is the one that surprises almost everyone. Not chocolate bars, not processed cocoa, raw cacao. Because what makes cacao powerful is not the taste, it is the flavonols it contains. These compounds stimulate nitric oxide production in your blood vessels. Nitric oxide is critical. It tells your vessels to relax, to widen, to allow more blood to flow. And for your optic nerve, this is everything, because your optic nerve depends entirely on blood supply. When that flow decreases, the nerve begins to deteriorate, slowly, silently, but progressively. Raw cacao helps improve that flow. It supports microcirculation, reduces pressure, and enhances oxygen delivery to the retina and optic nerve. Studies have shown measurable improvements in visual performance just hours after consumption, and over time, better preservation of vascular function. 1 teaspoon of raw cacao powder, mixed into a warm drink, about 30 to 45 minutes before sleep. That is all it takes to begin creating a long-term effect. And here's the truth that ties everything together. None of these foods work overnight. None of them are magic. But when used consistently, especially in the evening, when your body enters its repair phase, they create a compounding effect. Day after day, week after week, they build protection, support function, and slow decline. You have more control over your vision than most people ever realize. If this gave you something valuable, something you can actually use, take a moment to engage. Leave a comment. Share your experience. Let us know which one you will try first. Because sometimes, the smallest change, repeated consistently, becomes the reason everything changes.